Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the analysis of YOLENO TV. I hope you're well from wherever you're watching this channel. Allow me to give you a quick recap of what we discussed concerning the issue of Zambia. President Hichilema. President Hichilema was attacked during one of the briefing at a campaign rally in Chingola. We did discuss about that, and I shared a video on how the president was stoned. Now, the quick reaction to that was that it was as a result of his support for Suluhu during the swearing in. Now, that was something that we talked about in that previous analysis. Now, to just add on to something concerning the analysis, there is something that the Zambian president is doing, which to me appears to be a terrible blunder. Remember, Zambia is headed for the polls next year. President Hichilema secured victory as a Zambian president after making numerous promises. Now, I've gone through a couple of reactions when I shared that video on the heckling and the stoning, but many of you people who reacted from Zanzibar told me that the president has not delivered. He promised heaven, he has not even delivered a hotel. That is what you people kept telling me behind on the comment section. So I went further and dig deep into that incident because I was wondering. Because according to me, the stoning was as a result of the failure of intelligence. The security was breached. How could a president be stoned? President who is protected by military, by top security personnel. How could that have happened? Now, I just realized that there has been numerous arrests. There's a case of business people. There's a case of the clergy was also arrested, and several other people were arrested in connection with that horrific incident. Now, I'm going to take you through a couple of people I've just decided to point from the list of the 13 people who have been arrested. Now, based on this article I'm going through, we are told that the police have gone for certain Zambian entrepreneurs whom they believed could have orchestrated the violence. Earlier, the police picked Alex Mwale, the assistant pastor at Pentecostal Church of Christ in Chingola, led by Bishop Joseph Kazila. Also, Mulenga was picked. And Mulenga is the owner of Sparks Mining Limited, a mining company based in Chingola. Police also picked renowned Chingola-based businessman Kabaso Mulenga, popularly known as Sparks, linking him to the group that went riotous on Saturday, the 8th November 2025. Other people detained include former Deputy Minister of Sports and former Football Association of Zambia Vice President Richard Kazala. So that is actually the list of people I managed to sample. Some of the ones who were arrested in connection with that stoning. What do you think about all this drama? The arrests. They have even arrested a man of God in connection with the stoning. You see? I link this to a terrible mistake that Suluhu committed, the president of Jumuiya of Tanzania. What she did. Now, earlier this year, well, let's say mid this year, Suluhu invaded Gwajima's church. That is where I realized that there was already mess. There was a total mess. But Suluhu, through her team, closed down Gwajima's church. Then there was a lot of riot. There was a lot of tear gas. Men were being tear gassed. People who used to pray to God were being tear gassed. That is the time I realized that Suluhu had made a terrible mistake. There was no way she was going to save herself after committing such a big mistake. Now, look at this. Suluhu went to the polls. What happened, happened. Now, the all blame is on her. Don't you think that was the wrath of God? Now, what the Zambian president is doing is akin to what I saw with the Suluhu government. They have arrested people randomly. Of course, they have intel. They could have had intel that these are people who organized the stoning. But is it possible for an assistant pastor at Pentecostal Church of Christ to organize for a stoning of the president? Or this is just a case of these people going for whoever they feel they should arrest? It's a terrible mistake there. Now, second thing why I think this is a mistake, because even the case of Suluhu, the members of parliament were to be blamed. Because when people like Martha Karua attempted to gain access to Tanzania, which they had all the documentations, they were mistreated. Very, very mistreated. But what happened? They were deported back. And also the Chief Justice, the former Chief Justice, deported back. But what happened? The members of parliament in CCM were saying so many bad things about the Kenyan counterpart, the members of parliament in Kenya. And then what followed is that this happened to be a total embarrassment to Suluhu. I think if I'm Suluhu, I could have asked these members of parliament to shut up, because they are the ones who made Samia Suluhu be seen as a laughingstock. That's why many Kenyans ended up now mocking Samia Suluhu. Now, what we are seeing here in this case of Zambia is akin to the same thing. There's a member of parliament here who has also done almost the same. Mr. Amutike, we are told, is a central member of parliament. He described President Hichilema as our life, our hope, and our economic compass, and called him the architect of our nation's recovery, who was brave enough to clean up the fifth and corruption left by previous failed regimes. Then he went further to say, we will not allow him to be subjected to danger. Let this be a final warning to all who would threaten our peace. The full and yielding force of the state will be unleashed upon you. That is what Mr. Amutike said. Don't you think this is just like what you saw in Tanzania? Such a member of parliament making such a statement. Then at the end of the day, the person who's going to be blamed is the president, Honorable Hakainde Hichilema. Because he's the one who's going to carry out the blame when there is a lot of anger in the nations, just like what is happening in Tanzania. Now, let's see what Zambians are saying concerning this issue of what the police have done and what the member of parliament for Central have said. This is what people are saying. Absalom Mulangala says, I personally think the intelligence are not doing their job. They should have averted this before, and even the opposition should have a hand in this, knowing they have nothing to offer. Valindo says, while I condemn the riots, it is wrong for the one who says there is unprecedented development in Zambia now, while every administration misuses the word unprecedented. There is no unprecedented development anywhere in Zambia. In fact, Zambia is worse off now in governance and economic affairs than it was in 2021. If this is a Christian nation, let us strive to be truthful at all times. Then Iglande Junde says, people are hungry. Palibe na via sponsorship hapa. Name the sponsors. Kabili. Even naming the sponsors is another failed intelligence. Economy, fail. Governance, fail. Electricity supply, fail. Football, fail. Cost of living, fail. Of course, what they did was wrong. Okay, let me just take you through the last one. Agripon says, what the stone throwers did was wrong, but I honestly don't think they were sponsored. Otherwise, sponsors could have named. ECL was booed in a stadium, threatened with circumcision, and these pastors or clergy were very quiet. Suddenly, they have woken up. Anyway, we are going to an exciting period now of churches and politicians, and it has already started. I condemn the Chingola fiasco. So, to cut the long story short, based on the reactions, first, the thing I've noted is that people are saying this is not sponsored. The stoning was not sponsored. The second thing, the church have been quiet, now they are vocal. But that's what we expect with the churches. They're sometimes quiet, sometimes they're vocal. And that's when people think that maybe they are being pocketed. Someone is bankrolling their silence. You know, those kind of things normally come up. So, ladies and gentlemen, based on this arrests, what can you say? The arrests, personally, I think the arrests not good. But just tell us below in the comment section what you think about them. So perhaps if you're watching this video and you're not subscribed, take 1 second and subscribe, like this video. Until we catch up again, stay safe and stay blessed.